When life breaks you, most people look at that moment as the end, as if that's the final chapter of their story. But the truth is, those moments are the beginning of who you really are. Pain doesn't show up to ruin you, it shows up to teach you what you're made of. When you're sitting there, broken down, stripped of everything you thought you were, that's when the real test starts. That's when you see the difference between the person who gives up and the one who rises. Pain is not your enemy, it's the raw material that forges the strongest version of you. If you avoid it, if you run from it, you never find out what you could have been. Every setback, every heartbreak, every failure is an invitation to step into a higher version of yourself. When everything is going smooth, you don't grow. Comfort doesn't push you anywhere. It keeps you the same, repeating the same patterns, locked inside the same limitations. But when life breaks you, when it takes away what you thought you couldn't live without, you either crumble for good or you start building something new. Pain strips away your excuses. It puts you face with yourself. When you're hurt, when you're down, the mask falls off. There's no pretending, no faking. That's when you see who you truly are, and that's when you realize the choice you have. Stay down or rise up. The reason pain feels unbearable is because it's trying to force you out of who you were. The person you were before couldn't handle what's coming next. That old version has to die for the new one to be born, and the process isn't pretty. It's messy, it's painful, it feels unfair, but it's necessary. Every scar, every sleepless night, every tear is the tuition fee you pay for it. The question is, will you pay it, or will you keep fighting to hold on to who you used to be? You can't run from pain forever. Sooner or later, it catches up. Life has a way of breaking everyone at some point, but it's not about whether you break, it's about what you do after. Some people stay shattered, carrying the pieces of their brokenness forever, using it as an excuse to never try again. Others gather those same pieces, and they build a stronger foundation than they ever had before. That choice is what separates the weak from the strong, the ones who just exist from the ones who truly love. Think about every time you failed, every time you felt worthless, every time you thought you couldn't go on. You're still here. That means life didn't defeat you. It refined you. The pain didn't destroy you. It gave you a new level of resilience. Every time you felt like you couldn't breathe, like the weight was too heavy, and yet you kept moving forward even 1 inch, you were teaching yourself that you're capable of far more than you believe. Pain teaches you that your limits are just illusions. People want to be strong without ever being tested. They want confidence without the risk of failure. They want growth without sacrifice. That's not how it works. Strength only comes from struggle. Growth only comes from pressure. Diamonds are formed through fire and crushing weight, not comfort and ease. So when life breaks you, stop asking why it's happening to you and start asking what it's trying to show you. That shift in perspective is where transformation begins. Pain reveals the cracks in your armor, but it also shows you where to reinforce. It tells you where you need to build more discipline, more endurance, more courage. The pain itself becomes the map. It points out the weak spots and says, fix this. It's not punishment, it's guidance. If you can stop looking at it as cruelty and start seeing it as training, everything changes. Every hardship becomes an opportunity to strengthen the areas of your life that would have crumbled under pressure later on. You have to get comfortable being uncomfortable. You have to learn how to sit with the pain instead of running from it. That's the only way you grow. When you choose to stay in the fight, when you choose to endure instead of escape, you build a kind of strength that can't be taken from you. That strength doesn't come from books or motivational quotes. It comes from lived experience, from standing face with your pain and refusing to back down. Most people never reach their true potential because the first time life breaks them, they think it's over. They stop chasing their goals, they stop believing, they stop trying. They see pain as a dead end instead of a doorway. But those who push through, those who use the pain as fuel, discover that every breakdown has the potential to become a breakthrough. The greatest version of you is waiting on the other side of the pain you're running from. You have to understand that pain isn't just random suffering. It's communication. It's your body, your mind, your spirit telling you it's time to grow. Every time you feel it, instead of asking why me, start asking what now? What can I learn? What can I build? What can I strengthen? That's how you take control of the situation. That's how you turn pain into power. Life is going to test you over and over again. It doesn't care about your feelings, your comfort, your timeline. It's going to break you in ways you never imagined. But every time it does, you get a chance to rebuild yourself stronger, sharper, more resilient. And each time you come back, you carry with you the evidence that you are unbreakable. The surface may crack, the structure may fall, but the foundation inside you is indestructible if you choose to see pain as the teacher. So when life breaks you, don't hide, don't numb it, don't drown it out with distractions. Sit in it, feel it, listen to what it's teaching you, then use it, build from it, grow through it. Because in the end, the moments that nearly destroy you are the same moments that define who you become. The pain isn't there to keep you weak. It's there to reveal the strength that's been inside you all along, waiting for the moment when life pushed you far enough to finally bring it out. Discipline is built when nobody is watching, in the silence, in the darkness, when there's no applause and no reward. That's the place where most people quit because there's no external validation to keep them going. But that's exactly where discipline is forged. Anybody can work hard when the lights are on, when the cameras are rolling, when the crowd is cheering. But when you're alone, when you're tired, when you feel like quitting, and there's no one around to pull you out, what do you do then? That's the moment that defines who you are. The dark hours are where you earn the right to stand tall in the light. It's easy to talk about goals, to post about dreams, to make promises about how you're going to change your life. But discipline is about action without an audience. It's about doing what needs to be done even when you don't feel like it, especially when you don't feel like it. Discipline means showing up day after day, no matter how broken, no matter how unmotivated, no matter how hopeless you feel. That grind, repeated consistently, is what transforms you into someone unrecognizable from who you were before. Most people wait until they feel ready, until they're motivated, until the conditions are perfect. But motivation fades. The perfect moment never comes. Discipline doesn't care about how you feel. Discipline is the voice inside that tells you to get up anyway, to push anyway, to keep moving even when your body screams at you to stop. Discipline is what carries you through when motivation is long gone. That's why discipline beats talent, beats luck, beats every excuse. Think about those nights when you were tempted to sleep in, skip the workout, avoid the hard work. Every time you gave in, you built the habit of quitting. Every time you chose comfort over struggle, you trained yourself to surrender. But every time you pushed through, every time you forced yourself to keep going, you were building armor around your will. You were creating a foundation so strong that nothing could shake it. Discipline is not just about tasks, it's about identity. You're telling yourself, this is who I am, this is what I do, and nothing will stop me from doing it. The darkness is uncomfortable, and that's why most people can't handle it. They need someone clapping for them. They need instant results. They need constant reassurance. But the darkness offers none of that. It only offers silence, struggle, and resistance. And if you can survive that silence, if you can push against that resistance, you will come out with a strength that can't be faked. That's why the people who build discipline in the dark don't crumble when the storm comes. They've already been through worse when nobody knew their name. When you look at the strongest, most resilient people, it's not the public victories that made them who they are. It's the countless invisible battles they fought when no one cared. It's the mornings they woke up at 4 a.m. with nobody to see it. It's the hours they spent perfecting their craft while everyone else was sleeping. It's the sacrifices they made when nobody was clapping for them. That's the furnace of discipline, and if you're unwilling to walk into it, you'll never see what you're truly capable of. You need to train yourself to love the grind. Not because it's glamorous, not because it feels good, but because it shapes you. Every repetition when you're exhausted is a message to your mind that you don't quit. Every extra hour you put in when nobody notices is proof to yourself that you're serious. That's how you build an unbreakable mind. The pain, the boredom, the isolation, all of it is fuel. It's what separates you from the people who only dream but never do. The real test isn't how hard you work when you're excited. It's how consistent you are when the excitement is gone. It's what you do when the results are invisible, when the progress feels non-existent, when every step feels like a waste of energy. That's the point where most people walk away. But discipline is the ability to keep walking even when the road looks endless. To keep pushing even when you can't see the finish line. To trust the process when nothing seems to be happening. Every time you choose discipline, you're making a deposit into the bank of resilience. And when life breaks you, when everything falls apart, that's when those deposits pay off. You'll have the endurance to keep moving, the strength to keep standing, the mental toughness to refuse defeat. People who never built discipline in the dark collapse under pressure because they have no foundation. They relied on hype, on motivation, on temporary excitement. When the storm hits, they're gone, but the disciplined ones, they bend but they don't break. They bleed but they don't quit. There will be days when you feel like it's pointless, when the results are so slow you question why you're even trying. But those days are the most important, because it's in those days that discipline separates you from everyone else. It's in those days that you prove you're not just another person chasing a temporary high. You're building something permanent, something unstoppable, something that will carry you through every setback, every failure, every heartbreak. Discipline is a daily decision. It's not built in a single moment of glory. It's built in thousands of small choices, repeated over and over again, until they become who you are. And once discipline becomes part of your identity, you don't need to think about it anymore. You don't need motivation. You don't need validation. You just do the work because that's who you are. So when you're alone, when it's dark, when you're exhausted and nobody would blame you for giving up, that's the moment you have to push harder. Because that's the exact moment that separates the people who talk from the people who live. Discipline isn't about impressing others. It's about building a version of yourself that doesn't break when life hits hardest. It's about turning the silence of the dark into the foundation of your strength. And once you build that, nothing and no one can take it from you.